The wind outside was strong. Dust flew like angry ghosts across the empty land. Eli sat inside his metal shelter, reading an old book. The colony was quiet these days. Most people had left for the bigger stations near Jupiter. But Eli stayed. He liked the silence, the space, and the stars. He lived alone on the edge of Earth Colony 9, a forgotten place on a dry planet called Virex 2. There were no trees here, no rain, just red sand and broken machines. Eli spent his days fixing old tech and talking to his AI dog Max, who only barked in beeps. But that day, something changed. As the storm outside got louder, Max beeped twice, his way of warning Eli. Something moved on the scanner. Eli looked at the screen. A small figure was out there, walking through the storm. Eli frowned. No one comes out here. He grabbed his coat and stepped outside. The wind hit his face like fire. He saw the figure, small, thin, and shaking. A child, a little girl. She looked no older than 8. Her clothes were torn, her skin pale blue, and her eyes big and scared. She was not human, but she was starving. Eli slowly walked toward her. Hey, you okay? He shouted over the wind. She didn't answer. She looked at him with wide, tired eyes. Then she fell face first into the sand. Eli rushed over and picked her up. She was light, too light, like a paper doll. Her skin was cold, and strange glowing marks ran along her arms. He carried her inside. The girl lay on the couch. Eli gave her water and soft bread. At first she didn't move. Then slowly she opened her eyes and ate, fast, like she hadn't eaten in days. Her hands shook. Eli watched, confused and a little worried. Where did you come from? He asked. She looked at him but said nothing. Just a soft sound came from her lips, like wind through broken glass. Max beeped once, as if asking the same question. Eli gave her a blanket and let her rest. She fell asleep quickly. That night, Eli sat by the window. The storm outside had passed, but inside his head, a storm had begun. Who was this girl? Where were her parents? And why did her eyes look so human? The next morning, she was gone. Eli woke up early and checked the couch. Empty. The door was unlocked. No footprints outside. The wind had erased them. Just a dream? He whispered. But the blanket was still warm. The water glass was empty. She had been real. He searched the area for hours, but found nothing. No tracks, no sound, nothing. 3 days passed. Eli couldn't stop thinking about her. He left food outside, just in case. Every night, he sat by the window and waited. On the third night, just before sunset, Max beeped twice again. Someone was coming. Eli grabbed his light gun and opened the door. There she was. The girl stood in the red light of sunset, and beside her was a woman, tall, silent, and strange. She looked like the girl, same glowing marks, same blue skin, but her eyes were brown, human brown. Deep, calm, and sad. Eli stared. You're her mother? The woman nodded slowly. The girl ran toward Eli and hugged his leg. She smiled, just a little. Eli bent down and looked at her. You okay now? She pointed to the woman. Mom. Her voice was soft, but it was clear. Eli looked at the woman again. Who are you? The woman stepped forward. Her voice was quiet, but strong. My name is Mari, she said. We have no home. Eli stood still. Something about her words sent a chill through him. He looked at them, a small broken family from the stars. Hungry, tired, and running from something. He didn't know what to say. But he opened the door wide. Come in. They walked inside. As the door closed behind them, Eli didn't see the small drone floating in the distance, recording everything. The night felt heavier than usual. Eli couldn't sleep. It wasn't just the soft breathing of the girl sleeping on his couch, or the quiet figure of her mother sitting by the wall. It was something else. A strange feeling, like the stars outside were watching too closely. Mari had barely spoken since they arrived. She sat with her back straight, her eyes closed, almost like she was listening. But not to anything in the room, not to something far away. Eli watched from the kitchen. He poured a warm drink and handed it to her. "It's just tea," he said. "Helps with sleep." Mari opened her eyes. She looked at the cup, then at him. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was pain under the surface, like someone who had seen too much, lost too much. Eli sat across from her. "Where did you come from?" Mari looked at the sleeping girl and didn't answer at first. "She was dying when I found her," Eli continued. "She could have frozen out there." Mari's hands shook a little as she held the cup. "We had nowhere to go." "Why?" Mari's eyes lifted. "Because they still hunt us." Outside, the night winds moved quietly. A small hill beyond. The outpost shimmered, not from heat, but from invisible motion. Something had landed. Back inside, the girl suddenly opened her eyes. She sat up and looked at the door. Eli noticed. "What is it?" he asked. She didn't speak, only stared. I stood quickly and walked to her daughter, placing a hand on her head. Then she looked at Eli. "We cannot leave yet," she said. Eli was confused. "Leave? I didn't ask you to leave." Mari looked away. "You will when you know the truth." The next morning, things felt even stranger. The girl, who still didn't say her name, helped Eli in the garden unit. She watered the dusty vegetables and smiled at Max, the eye dog, who beeped and followed her like a guard. But something odd happened. Eli saw her touch a dying plant, and it turned green. Only for a second. Then it wilted again. He didn't say anything, but his heart skipped. That evening, Mari sat by the window. Eli walked over. "She did something to a plant today. It glowed." Mari nodded slowly. "She's not normal, is she?" "No, neither am I." Eli sat down. "Then what are you?" Mari turned her head to the stars. "We were made." Eli blinked. "Made?" Mari continued. "Not born. Made in a lab long ago. We were called Project Seed, a secret program, human and alien DNA, a test, to build new life that could survive anywhere." Eli stared. "That sounds like an old Earth project that was shut down years ago." Mari's voice turned cold. "It was shut down because it worked too well." The girl suddenly walked in, holding a broken piece of tech. Eli stood and smiled. "You want me to fix that?" She nodded. He took the device and turned it in his hands. It was an old cum unit, probably 30 years old. But inside something was glowing, a small crystal chip. "Where did you get this?" he asked. The girl didn't answer, just pointed to the desert. Mari's face changed. "That means they're close." Eli looked up. "Who?" she whispered. "The hunters." That night, Mari finally asked the question Eli feared. "Can we stay here a little longer?" Eli looked at the girl, then at Mari. He didn't know what they were hiding or how much danger followed them, but something inside him said yes. He nodded. "You can stay." But as the night grew darker and the wind picked up again, Eli couldn't shake the feeling. He had just invited something bigger into his life, something old, and hunted. Far across the sand, a silent figure watched Eli's outpost through a scope. A light blinked on a scanner. Target located. The hunter's mask lit up. She stood in the dark, barefoot on the sand. The little girl was outside again, but this time, Eli didn't stop her. He stood quietly by the door, watching. The desert wind touched her hair. Her small hands were open, and her eyes were closed, like she was listening to the ground. And then it happened. The sand around her feet began to move. Just a little, like it was breathing. Eli didn't understand what he was seeing, but he knew this wasn't normal. It had been 5 days since the girl and her mother arrived. They still hadn't told Eli much. But strange things were happening. Machines near the House turned on by themselves. Max, the AI dog, followed the girl like she was his creator, and Eli. He was having dreams. That morning, Eli sat at his table, drinking coffee. The girl sat across from him, building a small toy robot with pieces from his toolbox. Mari stood at the window, silent as always, watching the horizon. Eli cleared his throat. I saw her outside last night. What was she doing? Mari didn't. Look at him, listening. To what? Mari turned around. To the earth, to life. She feels things others don't. Eli leaned forward. She moved the sand. Mari nodded once. She's learning. Later that day, Eli took the girl with him to the old water tanks behind the station. He needed to check the filters. The tanks hadn't worked in years. He climbed up and opened a panel. You know, he said, smiling, these things are older than me. The girl just stared at the metal. Then she reached out and touched it. The rusted panel sparked, and the filter inside began to hum. Water started flowing. Eli jumped back. What the? The girl looked at him and smiled. Eli stared at the tank. For years, it had been dead. Now it worked, just like that. That night, Eli finally spoke. I need to know what she is. Mari sat at the table, her hands folded. Her eyes were tired. She is something new, she said. She is not human, but not alien either. She is both, and she is more. Eli frowned. She fixed my water tank. She fixed more than that, Mari said. She speaks to energy, to memory, to nature. Eli rubbed his face. And you? You're the same? No, Mari said softly. I am the old model, strong, fast, but limited. She is pure. She was never made in a lab like me. She was born. Eli froze. Born? Mari nodded. She is the first natural hybrid. That is why they hunt her. Somewhere beyond the dunes, the sky flashed. A ship had arrived, quiet and invisible to most sensors. Inside, a voice spoke in a dead language. Target has developed primary skill set. Stage 2 must be prevented. Back in the shelter, the girl walked into Eli's workshop. She looked at a broken screen on the wall, a device Eli had tried to fix for months. She placed her hand on it. The screen lit up, glowing with old images, pictures of Earth, oceans, trees, animals Eli had long forgotten. Eli stood in shock. How did you do that? He asked. She didn't answer, but her hand stayed on the screen. And in that moment, Eli saw something strange, his own face, glowing faintly in the reflection. He backed away slowly. What's happening to me? Mari entered the room behind him. She is connected to you now, she said. You gave her food when no one else would. Kindness opens doors science never can. Eli shook his head. This is too much. She's not dangerous, Mari said. But they think she is. Who are they? Mari paused, then said, just one word, hunters. Suddenly, Max beeped 3 times, something he had never done before. An alert. Eli ran to the screen. Shape was moving fast across the sand. Too smooth to be wind. Too quiet to be natural. Outside, something stopped. 100 meters from the station. A single black pod opened silently. A figure stepped out, tall, masked, with no sound. No scent, no soul. Inside, the girl looked toward the door. Her eyes turned bright white. Asterisk, the hunter did not breathe. It did not think like humans. It only followed code. Target, hybrid child. Objective, capture, no contact with host. Its armor was black, smooth, and silent. Its feet did not leave prints on the sand. Inside its helmet, symbols flickered. One glowing red icon showed a small house ahead, Eli's station. The hunter moved forward. At that same moment, the little girl opened her eyes. She had been sleeping beside Max, the robot dog, in the workshop. But now, her body sat up stiff. And alert. She whispered a word no one taught her. Danger. Ailey was checking the tools when he heard her voice. He turned, confused. "What?" The girl pointed toward the door. Mari ran into the room. "He's here," she said, eyes sharp. "A hunter." Eli grabbed his pulse rifle from under the desk. "What does he want?" Mari looked at her daughter. "Not what." "Who?" "Outside." The hunter scanned the area. It saw movement through the walls. 3 life forms. It marked the child in blue. Target confirmed. Hybrid energy level. Stage 2. Engage immediately. But then, the signal glitched. For a moment, the hunter's visor blinked with static. Something inside the house was blocking its signal. Inside, Mari stood still, eyes closed, lips moving softly. She was humming, a low, strange sound, not a song, but a code. Eli stepped back. "What are you doing?" She opened her eyes. "Buying us time." Max beeped once and rolled toward the door. The girl followed him, placing her hand on Max's. Back, Max's lights turned blue. He had never turned blue before. Suddenly, the power in the station flickered. Lights glowed brighter. Screens turned white. Even Eli's wristwatch froze in time. The hunter stepped closer. But now, it felt something strange. Something it had never felt before. Kalan resistance. Not from weapons. Not from walls. From the girl. Eli looked out the window and saw the figure. "Why is it just one?" he asked. "Mar." I shook her head. "One is enough." Then she looked at Eli. "You need to know the truth now." He turned to her, gun still in hand. "Tell me." Mari's voice was calm, too calm, long ago, humans made us. Secret science, alien DNA, mixed with Earth minds. We were not soldiers. We were meant to be survivors. Seeds for a dying galaxy. But the world feared what it created. They sent the hunters, machines built by humans, to erase. "Yes," Eli looked at the girl, "but she's just a child." Mari placed her hand on her daughter's head. "And that's why she's powerful. She hasn't chosen yet." "Chosen what?" Eli asked. Mari looked out the window. "Whether she will save or destroy." The hunter raised its arm. A small drone flew out and shot toward the door. But before it could hit, the girl lifted her hand. She didn't touch the drone. She just looked at it. It stopped in the air, then turned around, then exploded in a quiet blue flash. Eli stumbled back. "Did she just?" Mari nodded. "Her powers are waking. The more she feels, the more she can do." "She's never hurt anyone," Eli said. "Not yet," Mari replied. The hunter, now unsure, sent a signal back to its ship. Hybrid evolving faster than data suggests, requesting backup. But the signal didn't go through. Someone was jamming it. The hunter took a step back. In the sky, clouds began to spin slowly. The girl walked to the door and opened it. The wind didn't touch her. The dust moved around her like she was protected. She raised one hand. The hunter stopped. It tried to move, but its legs locked. Its arms dropped. Its body began to rust, even though it was made of anti-corrosive alloy. It fell to its knees. Eli stood beside her. "What is she doing to it?" Mari answered softly. "She's giving it a choice." Inside the hunter's mind, a machine brain, something unusual happened. A feeling. Fear. The machine fell, face first into the sand. Silent. Dead. Eli couldn't breathe. She didn't even touch it. Mari said nothing. The girl walked back inside, quiet, eyes glowing white-blue. Max followed her, wagging his metal tail. She sat down and picked up her toy again, like nothing happened. Eli looked at Mari. "What now?" Mari looked toward the stars. "They will send more. Stronger." She turned to Eli. "And next time, they won't just want her. They'll come for you too." She didn't know what the word escape meant, but she knew what running felt like. She had done it her whole life. The little girl sat on the cold floor, holding Max's metal paw. Her eyes were wide, glowing soft white in the dark. She stared at the door like it might open again. Another hunter. Another chase. She was tired of running, but she knew. It wasn't over. Eli didn't sleep that night. He kept walking around the station, checking doors, checking windows, rechecking power levels. His home, once silent and peaceful, now felt like a trap. Mary stood outside, her face lit by moonlight, watching the desert. Eli stepped out. "You really think more are coming?" Mari didn't turn. "They never stop after the first fails. Now they know she's grown stronger. They'll bring the machines that don't feel. The ones built for war." Eli looked up at the stars. "Then we need a plan." By morning, the escape plan had begun. Eli had an old skiff hidden in a sand vault, a half-broken transport pod from the mining days. Rusty, small, but fast. "I haven't flown this thing in years," he said. I ran her hands along the hull. "If you can get it running, we can reach the canyon. There's a hidden tunnel system beneath the old starport." Eli blinked. "The abandoned colony? It's locked by a dead signal." Mari looked at the girl. "She can open it." The girl walked into the ship. The skiff's lights turned on the moment she touched the wall. Eli stared. She didn't even press anything. Max beeped and sat beside her like a Kodash pilot. By noon, they loaded supplies. Water, tools, food. Not much. The girl packed something extra, a small stuffed creature she found in Eli's old storage bin. A one-eyed alien toy from Earth. She named it Yeah. Before they left, Eli sent one final message to Central Command. "Outpost 9 compromised. Civilian hybrids present, not hostile. I'm going dark." He stared at the blinking screen for a long time before turning it off. "They'll come after me now too," he muttered. I looked at him. "You could still leave us. You have that choice." Eli shook his head. "Not anymore. I fed that child. That makes me part of her story." They left before sunset. The skiff rose slowly, its engines coughing to life. Dust swirled around them as they lifted above the red desert. The house grew smaller in the distance. The girl didn't look back. She held "Yeah" in her hands and whispered something only Mary could understand. A goodbye. But not to a place. To a version of herself. 2 hours later, they reached the canyon. The wind here sounded different, hollow, like it was moving through deep, forgotten places. Mari led them to an old access point, hidden under a rock face. "This was once an evacuation tunnel," she said. "But now it's a graveyard." Eli forced the door open. Inside, the tunnel was dark and cold. Broken screens flickered. Old warning signs in 10 languages. One word repeated: quarantined. As they moved through the tunnel, the girl paused. She touched the wall. Suddenly, a hologram flickered on. An old human scientist's face. "Project Seed. Phase 3 canceled. Containment breach reported. Survivors unknown." Eli watched in silence. "Is this where you came from?" he asked. I didn't speak. She only touched the girl's shoulder. The girl looked up and said her first full sentence. "I was not supposed to live." Before Eli could respond, Max beeped 3 times. Same warning as before. "They followed us," Mari said. Eli pulled up his scanner. 2 fast ships, no ID, no sound. "It's them." Mari turned to the girl. "It's time." The girl stepped forward and raised her hands. The tunnel lights turned blue. And then, the walls began to shift. Metal doors unlocked. Pathways opened. She wasn't just reading energy. She was controlling the station. Eli's scanner blinked wildly. "Wait," he said. "The system's rewriting itself." He looked at Mari. "She's not escaping anymore." Mari nodded. "She's preparing a home." Back outside, the 2 hunter ships hovered above the canyon. Inside the lead vessel, a human officer watched the screen. Target locked. Then suddenly, system failure. Every control went dark. The ships fell, not crashed, but softly landed. As if something pulled them down. The officer looked at his pilot. "She's not a child anymore," he said. Deep in the tunnel, Eli stood in awe. The girl had opened a massive underground dome, once a bunker, now glowing with light and power. She sat in the center, calm, silent, eyes bright like stars. And on the wall, in ancient code, a message appeared. This place belongs to her now. Asterisk. The council chamber was silent. 7 chairs, 7 masked faces, 7 minds, full of fear. A large screen showed a glowing child inside a hidden dome. She sat calmly, her hands on the floor, eyes closed. Around her, the air shimmered. One of the masked leaders leaned forward. "She has claimed the bunker. She speaks to machines like they are trees. She stopped 2 of our ships without touching them." Another voice replied coldly, "She is not a child. She is a weapon." Back in the canyon bunker, Eli stared at the girl. She hadn't moved in over an hour. Her hands rested on the metal floor. Her eyes were glowing like glass under sunlight. "She's not just controlling this place," Eli whispered to Mari. "She's becoming it." Mari nodded. "She doesn't need escape anymore," she said. "Now she needs protection." Eli walked through the dome. It was waking up. Lights blinking. Systems rebooting after decades. Screens showed maps, old Earth files, abandoned protocols from a time before peace. "This whole base was made by humans," Eli said. "And now it follows her." Mari looked at him. "And now you must choose. Stay and stand with us, or leave and stay human." Eli paused. "I already made my choice," he said. "When I gave her bread." Outside, soldiers gathered. Not machines this time, but humans. A strike team stood near the canyon's edge. Each wore black armor with silver emblems, special. Clearance Task Force, SCTF. Their leader, Commander Arlen, watched the entrance with sharp eyes. "She has activated Phase 0, he told his team. "This isn't just a hybrid child anymore. She's linked with the seed vault." Another soldier asked, "What's the order, sir? Kill or capture?" Commander Arlen paused, then said, "Neither. We ask her to surrender." The humans entered the canyon without firing. They walked slowly, weapons lowered. A sign of peace. Eli saw them on the monitor. He narrowed his eyes. "They didn't shoot." Mari looked unsure. "It could be a trick." The girl opened her eyes. "Let them come." Minutes later, Commander Arlen stood inside the dome, unarmed, facing the child. Eli, Mari, and Max. Arlen looked around, clearly amazed. "This place was meant for war," he said. "But you made it peaceful." The girl tilted her head. "Why did you chase me?" Arlen sighed. "Because you scared the wrong people." Mari stepped forward. "She was born free, not made. You cannot control her." Arlen looked at Eli. "You're the only registered human here. If you hand them over peacefully, we can forget this happened." Eli didn't answer. He looked at the girl, then back at Arlen. "No." Arlen's face tightened. "You understand what this means?" "I do," Eli said. "You're not here because she's dangerous. You're here because she's new." Suddenly, the bunker lights dimmed. An AI voice echoed from the ceiling. "Warning, power levels shifting. External override detected." The girl stood quickly. "They're trying to take the dome." Her hands glowed brighter. Max beeped rapidly. Eli turned to the monitors. "They're hacking the system." From orbit, Commander Arlen backed away. "I didn't authorize that." The girl placed her hand on the floor. The lights flared. The system answered her. Not the attackers. One by one, the enemy's satellite feeds went black. In orbit, control stations blinked red. "Sir, we lost access to the seed vault AI." "How?" "She locked us out." Inside the dome, silence fell again. Commander Arlen removed his helmet. He looked tired, sad. "I wasn't sent to kill her," he said. I was sent to test you, all of you. Eli narrowed his eyes. Test us for what? To see who you'd stand with, Arlen said. Her or us. Eli took a breath and replied, I'm standing with what's right. And right now, she's the only one who isn't lying. The girl looked at Arlen. You're scared, she said. Yes, he admitted. Because power like yours always ends in war. She shook her head. Not this time. That night, the dome went quiet again. The strike team left, not in chains, not in fire, but in silence, and the child watched the stars. Not as a threat, but as someone waiting. She remembered a voice, soft, human. Long ago, before the desert, before the running, a woman had whispered in her ear, one day you'll grow a home. Not build it, grow it. She never knew what it meant, until now. The dome had changed. The cold metal walls were no longer cold. Lights pulsed like soft heartbeats. Green vines grew along the edges. Even though nothing had been planted, the girl, once silent, scared, half-starved, now stood in the center like a rising sun. Not powerful, not dangerous, just alive. Eli walked through the halls with Max. Beside him, the floors were warm. The air no longer smelled like machines, it smelled like rain. But rain hadn't touched this place in decades. He found Mari standing near a new doorway. It hadn't been there yesterday. What is this? He asked. Mari smiled faintly. She opened something old and made it new. Eli stepped through. Inside was a room full of light. Screens showed stars, Earth, memories. One wall was made of glass, and behind it grew plants, real ones. She's terraforming the bunker, Mari said softly. Not for war. For life. Later, the girl sat outside the dome's gate, watching the sky. Her feet dangled over the ledge of the cliff. She held her toy. Yeah, close. Eli sat beside her. No more hunters? He asked. She nodded. They stopped coming. Why? She looked at him. Because I let them see. See what? That I'm not what they fear. Far above, Earth Command received one final message. A live feed. No weapons. No warning. Just a child in a glowing garden underground. A message with it. She's not a threat. She's a beginning. Back on the surface, Mari packed a small bag. Eli saw her and frowned. You're leaving? She nodded. I was made for running, but she wasn't. This place is hers now. You'll leave her here? She doesn't need me anymore, Mari said. She has you. Eli shook his head. I don't know what I am to her. Mari smiled. You fed her. You protected her. You listened when others feared. She calls you something now, in her dreams. Eli blinked. What? Mari leaned in. Father. That night, the dome lights dimmed gently, not from loss, but from rest. Like a living thing going to sleep. Eli found the girl in the old command room. She had drawn stars on the screen with her finger. Each one pulsed with a small blue glow. This is your sky? Eli asked. She nodded. One day I'll go there. And what about this place? She looked around, smiling. I'll leave it open. For others like me, and others like you. Mari left before sunrise. No ship. No goodbye. Just quiet footprints. Fading into the canyon. Eli stood at the entrance, holding the child's hand. He looked down and asked, Do you miss her? The girl said nothing, but the wind carried her answer. A soft breeze, full of warmth. Time passed. Not days. Not years. Just moments. The dome became something new, a sanctuary. A garden. A memory. Pilots would speak of it. A glowing place under the sand, with clean water, green leaves, and a girl who spoke to the walls. Some said she was magic. Others said she was the future, but the ones who stayed, they didn't care what she was. They called it home. And Eli? He never left, because he finally understood what Mari meant. Home is not a place. It's a person, sometimes small, sometimes strange, but always worth choosing.